girl wants to sharpen her vision. And you know, that's something we all need. And there's a way that we can sharpen our vision and seek after God wholeheartedly. And the way to do this is through extended times of personal prayer. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. Let's look at this verse by Lauren Sandy. Like flying over the battlefield in a reconnaissance plane, a day of prayer gives opportunity to think of the world from God's point of view. Especially when going through some difficulty, we need this perspective to sharpen our vision of the unseen and to let the immediate, tangible things drop into proper place. Our spiritual defenses are strengthened while we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. And that's what this girl is doing. She's wanting to fix her eyes on what is unseen. She's wanting to let the tangible, the immediate drop into proper place. She wants to see her world from God's point of view. Let's look at extended times of personal prayer. First of all, we all need to sharpen our vision of God by fixing our eyes on the eternal. Just as we just said, you can see that in 2 Corinthians 4:18. He's always with us. He's longing for our attention. And I want to really encourage you to spend extravagant time with him in personal prayer and devotion. Your view of what really is important will sharpen dramatically. He desires a relationship, and we are made to dwell with him. He inhabits our lives. He desires our relationship. We are called to be men and women with a steadfast, single gaze at God. And the length of time you spend in personal prayer, it can be a day, it can be a week, or even a month. It all depends on how God leads you. Some incorporate it into their weekly lifestyle or make it a half a day. Now, I like to incorporate it into my weekly lifestyle. I take time out during the day for God, and then sometimes a little more extended time. Sometimes here at IHOP, we have the first Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, a fasting day for IHOP, and a lot of people spend extra time in the prayer room with God. I know a Christian leader, he likes to spend 1 week every quarter of the year in personal prayer and meditation with his wife. They go to a retreat center, and he and his wife look forward with anticipation to this time apart with God. It is a vital part of their life and ministry, and it should be ours too. Others like to spend a day in prayer monthly. Here in Kansas City, full-time staff spend 24 hours in the prayer room per week. So it all depends on you and your situation. It is important to make time for these valuable periods of personal prayer. So vital, so important. Changes your whole life, and God will lead you. God is looking for those who are desperate for him. It would seem that as we move forward in life towards the second coming of Christ, that we should seek him with more passion, more intensity, and with a singleness of heart. We must know the mind of God and see from his eternal perspective, especially now. We are his earthly habitation, and we're made to behold his beauty. Let me read to you Psalm 132, verse 4 and 5. I will not give sleep to mine eyes, or slumber to my eyelids, until I find out a place for the Lord, a habitation for the mighty God of Jacob. And you know, this stirs me so deeply, because I want to find an earthly habitation for the Lord. I want to find a place for intercessors to find an earthly habitation with God and bring them into that place. And there are so many biblical examples of extended times of personal prayer. The men and women that God used mightily spent extended times in personal prayer. This man here is just a biblical example. Well, Jesus is our greatest example. He spent whole nights in prayer to God. Luke 6:12. Moses spent 40 days and nights with God before receiving the 10 Commandments. Elijah spent extended time alone with God as a preparation for ministry. And David spent extended time with God and took every occasion every situation to the Lord in prayer. And these men sought after one thing, and it was God Himself. And do you realize your greatest victory, your deepest revelation, and your highest joy is likely to come when you give God your extended time? And here's a guy, he wants to give God his time. He wants to follow the examples of Jesus and Moses, Elijah and David. He wants to make God his habitation. He knows how important extended times of personal prayer is. He wants to be God's earthly habitation, and he wants to seek after God Himself. Let's read this verse, Psalm 27:4. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in His temple. We are to behold His beauty. We are to seek Him with all our hearts. And extended times of personal prayer help us to do this. And they sharpen our vision of God and who He really is. May the Lord bless you. May you be a man or woman with a steadfast single gaze at God. May the Lord bless you.